Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Fantasy Football podcast with me, Rob Lambert, and my Ipswich Town tractor boy pal, David Utteridge. You may have listened to past episodes, but if you haven't, we'll quickly go over how it works. Each week we'll pick 5 aside teams based on a theme chosen by the person playing at home and decide by any means possible who would win in a 1v1. Alternating each week will be the home side, and both teams have the option of using subs from a selection of players that didn't make the final cut. The winner will be gifted a present by the loser, which will be posted via Royal Mail and firmly remains within the confines of a hopeful £10 limit. Last week was arguably the most difficult encounter, as we attempted to outdo our competitor with our favourite robots. Although it seemed like a simple theme with plenty of opportunity, it was in fact a near impossible fight between our teams, ending in a similar vein as my manager, Heistertron from Rick and Morty, decided the day due to his inability to plan anything incorrectly. The outcome was harsh, but in this game you have to play dirty or you barely play at all. In episode 6 we'll move back to David as the home side, so it is his turn to pick the theme. I was last week's winner, so I'll briefly explain the gift I received for coming out on top in the last encounter. David kindly sent me the hubcaps to a 2006 Toyota Celica, which would have been an overwhelmingly kind present if it wasn't for the fact that I drive a Ford Fiesta. David, what was your thinking behind the award?
Just what I could get my hands on, really. Go on eBay, search under £10. Hubcaps.
To be fair, I think £10 for 4 hubcaps not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the person owned the hubcaps or if they were stolen, but they made £10. I made you presumably happy?
Yeah, let's go for happy. Shall we move on to your theme for this week?
Yes, indeedy. This week, it's food mascots. Sort of self-explanatory, does what it says on the tin or packet in this case. I think what I wanted to do was take us. We've been quite heavy on sort of film and TV and that kind of area of pop culture, and I thought, let's take us in a completely different direction. Let's go for food mascots. So that's, I guess that covers anyone that's involved in the advertising on the packet. Someone, so long as they're synonymous with a brand. So there might be one or two that I've picked or have on my bench that you might argue aren't really mascots. Yeah. And so that, there's an opportunity for a first DQ. We're always looking for a DQ on the Fantasy Football pod. So did you like it?
I did. I had a lot. I mean, it's the sort of thing at first you think I'm not really sure if that's a good idea, and then you realise there are actually so many good picks for this. And obviously, like you've said, there's so many different things you can do with it. You can interpret it as a few different ways. So I'm excited to. I'm a bit scared of how many you've already got, which therefore you've picked before me and are yours. But yeah, I'm interested to see if I can catch you out here and turn it round and actually come out with a win. Get us back to level terms.
It is decidedly uneven. I have always had a lead in the podcast, so I would like to maintain it. I think this will be a really tough week. I don't think I've made it easy on myself.
No.
But hey, we'll see. It'd be quite exciting either way.
There's always surprises in this game.
Oh yeah. Apart from when you picked Terminator and Bender last week.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a bit more different. Well, I'm trying to be a bit more surprising, but I feel like there's very few surprises in my pick. So maybe next week.
So should I reveal my team name?
Yeah.
I've taken inspiration from you. Every week you make the same gag.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd steal it. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come for the match. So my team name for this week is Fred Frog.
Oh, you know what? As well, I actually haven't done the Fred joke, so it's good timing.
Phew! Thank God we're reliable.
Fred. Like one day, Manchester United midfielder Fred will somehow listen to this podcast and will be overwhelmed at the fact that we've devoted most of our jokes, if you can call them that, to him, and Hull City for some reason. So yeah, I'm hoping one day he somehow finds out about it and realizes that he's a running joke every week.
Maybe if we all tweet him and hit him up on all the socials and just badger him with this podcast, he'll respond.
Worth a go. Okay, have you got any alternate names you thought of?
Oh no, you'd be surprised how long it took me to come up with Fred Frog, and then I just quit then and there. I imagine you though have quite the list.
I have. Well, I'm not as happy with a lot of these because I ended up kind of resorting to the kind of it's actually traditional. It's kind of a cornerstone in fantasy football names to just get a player's name and make it sound like something. But a lot of them are players' names that are tied to food. And I know we could have a different kind of food week. Like, maybe I'll pick a celebrity chef's week because I'm a big fan of a good celebrity chef.
Like who?
Guy Fieri, preferably. But I'm impartial to. I'm partial to Barefoot Contessa because she's so weird. And she always has this man in her house, but they don't seem to be together, and they don't seem to be related. And she doesn't really seem to know much about him, but she just feeds him, and he just sort of like looks at her sort of confused and just eats whatever she makes. And then it's almost like he doesn't really want to be there, but he's inclined to come. It's just really odd. There's most cooking shows are like that, but I don't like Jamie Oliver, so he wouldn't make it.
I was absolutely sure you'd say Greg Wallace after gaming icons, but
that's true. Well, I think he'd have to just because it's like I'd try and get Master Chief in there, but I feel like that's you can't misspell it and hope that that you won't notice. But yeah, I'll go through my other options and I'll say what my actual team name was because I'm actually very happy with my actual team name. So my other options were Pizza Crouch.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is kind of there's actually a few different puns to that because obviously there's the fact that Peter kind of sounds like pizza, but in Scotland there's a food called Pizza Crunch, which is deep fried pizza. So that kind of works in two ways.
Kind of.
Or neither. There's one that you probably thought of straight away and thought I'm not doing that, which is KFCFC.
Yep. Yellow card. You're on a warning.
Paul Mintz. This is the sort of one you'd say like primary school, but I've got counter a snack.
Go again.
Counter a snack.
Yeah, I've got it now. Sorry.
Yeah. It's quite highbrow. So you really need to. It's like listening to this podcast, like watching an episode of Frasier. You really need to know your stuff. Lionel amped Bessie. Dairy Lee Sharp.
Oh, dated. That one's dated.
Yeah. Jesus Tapas.
Yep.
That's on the border because I don't know how he's still playing. Actually, I know how he's still playing because he's right back now instead of right wing. So he's done. Yeah. But anyway, Paul Jewel-Aid guy, like Kool-Aid guy.
We don't talk about Paul Jewell.
That's a very that's even more dated, I think. Francis Coco Van. I think that's quite a recent fantasy football name, really. But I've gone for which is actually the most. It's not only the best, but the most relevant one because it is actually a food mascot. The others were just food. Is Snap, Crackle, and Clop.
Oh, fair enough.
That's not too. I think a lot. It's a very poor week for them, but some would say it always is. So, but yeah, I've stuck with Snap, Crackle, and Clop. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I would be too. Lovely stuff. Whoa. Fred Frog, Snap, Crackle, and Clop. Heading for kickoff?
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm going to start this week in centre midfield, where I have gone for one of the Jelly Babies.
I did. I know you shock me every week, but I didn't expect that.
Well, do you know they've got names?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, this will be exciting for you then. I've gone for Brilliant, who is the red jelly. Not because it's my favourite flavour, but because
Yeah,
the name implies a certain level of proficiency.
yeah,
But I could also have gone for Bubbles, which is
yeah.
the yellow one, Baby Bonnie, who's the pink one, Boofles, which is green and tastiest, Big Heart, who's the purple one, or Bumper, who's the orange one. But I've gone for Brilliant because his name implies he will be very good at football, and also because, as a keen runner, I can tell you that jelly babies are good for energy, so he will have the stamina to keep going all day in midfield. So yeah, I'll see what you've got, and then maybe I'll launch some more counterattacks. So Brilliant's taking on.
I've picked in midfield. I thought we need. I mean, in any team, we need a proper captain in midfield, especially central midfield. I know people, in Italy, the captains tends to be the striker because they're kind of the big number 10. In a lot of countries, it's the centre back. In some countries, it's the goalkeeper.
Weird.
I think particularly Germany, but I'm mostly thinking of Manuel Neuer.
I was thinking of Khan.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
because they're kind of like, well, he's the one at the back, he's in control. But I always think central midfield, that's where the captain is. So for my pick in midfield, I've gone for Captain Birdseye because he is the captain. I don't think he even has a first name. He's just Captain Birdseye. And I mean, I'm assuming he's always fishing for the ball and anchoring for a tackle. He's just the man you want in the middle, equally as strong in defence and attack. What more can you say? He's the captain now, and he always has been the captain.
Those were some very strong fishing puns in the
Yeah.
middle there as well. Just to acknowledge that. So if you didn't catch them first time, go back, enjoy them.
We'll slow them down in post production.
Yeah, get some real slow mo on there. Make it sound like they're not even words anymore. Okay, Birdseye versus Brilliant. This is
You'd never imagine it.
It's sweet versus savoury.
Yeah. I mean,
what version of Birdseye are you going for? Are you going for like the newer, fresher looking one? Are you going for the old one that was a bit like a fishy Santa?
Yeah, old like classic one. I don't want the young, like kind of attractive one. I want the old, like rugged, beardy, peculiar old man one.
Yeah, what you don't want is to be thinking of fish fingers as sexy.
Yeah, because they're not, and that's fine. Because that's what you don't want them to be. You want them to be the opposite. You want them to almost be disgusting, because that's what makes them nice.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I actually, for once as well, if we can't decide on the outcomes on this is the hardest week because we can't go for anything.
I don't know, man. We could get onto Quora and see if anybody's ever thought to pit them against each other. No, this is cool. This is cool. So, I guess my key attribute with Brilliant is stamina. That's what I'm looking at for my midfielder. I think he can go for the whole match. He won't tire. And I think he's going to be like a metronome, just shuffling back and forth, like basically like N'Golo Kante.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect that from your pick, but I'm not saying that's not true. I think it's just with Captain Birdseye. I think he'd bring the team together because he would be the captain. I don't know how many times I can say captain, but he would be the captain. He'd be control the whole team, and he just lead everything. I mean, if you watch any Captain Birdseye advert, just pick any Birdseye advert ever. He just brings everyone together, and I think he's like Gerrard for Liverpool, or Ronaldo for any team he's at apart from Juventus. That was a good example until I realised it was a bad example.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I just feel like he's the brains, but also, he's happy to make a tackle when he needs to. He'll take one for the team, and then he'll be on the sidelines like Ronaldo at the Euros. He's just Ronaldo, clearly, because he suits Ronaldo so many times.
Would he have been better suited up top then?
No, because I don't know. I just like him being in midfield, and I've got an even better pick up top.
Of balls.
unless you've got it, and in that case, it's me saying balls.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay.
What is that? Have you let me win?
No, I'm buffering while I think of an argument.
Thought that counted.
I think my last throw of the dice would just be that do Bird's Eye have a particularly sporting history with like their nutritional values?
Well, they're high in omega-3, aren't they?
Yes.
Is that good?
For sport? I mean, it is good. Kids, get your omega-3. Have a look.
There's so many kids watching this, and they just want to know: do I need more omega-3, less omega-3?
Do you know, it does suggest that the anti-inflammatory effects of omega-3 may result in an increased supply of blood to muscles and increased delivery of oxygen to the heart muscle, which would benefit the performance of elite sports people. It does sound like it's 1-0 to you.
I'll have to take it.
I'll come back. Don't worry about it. 1-0.
scared
Bird's
you
eye.
up.
Bird's eye. Who knew? So I think next up, I'm just going to get your mega pick out of the way. So I'm going to go goalkeeper.
Oh,
And I've leaned heavily on the idea that goalkeepers are the craziest players in the team.
yeah.
And I've gone for Animal, who is the mascot of Pepperami.
Oh my god.
Think of him.
That's so cool. I genuinely have him as on my wing, so I'm gonna have to swap that out when we get to it. But that's a very good pick, because obviously I've picked it myself, so that's already a bad sign for me.
Yeah.
But you're actually gonna hate my striker pick, because I've kind of bent. I don't think I've bent the rules actually, because I do think, I mean, technically it is a food mascot. You will hate me for choosing this player as my striker, and you're right to. But technically, he does fall within the rules of this week's theme. He's a renowned lover of crisps. He's been promoting Walker's crisps for 26 years, but with a Copa del Rey FA Cup, 3 top-tier golden boots, a World Cup golden boot, and multiple Player of the Year trophies, Gary Lineker is an undisputable striker. I've gone for Gary Lineker.
Yeah. Fine. I thought about doing this myself, and I had a feeling one of us would do it.
You know what this is? This is payback for Adriano on gaming week.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good at football. I grant you that. Is he better than a stick of Pepperami?
It's tough, because I do see the footballing ability in a stick of Pepperami, especially one as ruthless and mental as what is he called?
Animal.
Oh, is that all he's called?
Yeah.
Because I used to look that up and I couldn't find it, so I just called him Pepperami Man. But yeah, like a really bad superhero. But yeah, I mean, I did pick him, so obviously I do see your reasoning. But unlike all my previous choices in this whole podcast, this is the first time I've actually picked an actual striker. So I'm once again, I'm quite firmly behind Gary Lineker. But then he's getting on. I'll give you that.
It is Lineker past his prime.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is
he? Doesn't do soccer aid either, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, how old is he now?
He is 60.
No way, 60.
Yeah, that's depressing, isn't it?
Oh, you're putting a 60-year-old up against. I mean, I do bear with while I find out the age of Animal.
Oh my god, that's a good point. I bet he's really. Actually, didn't he used to be voiced by Adrian Edmonds?
Yeah, he did indeed.
That was one of the other reasons I picked him, because I just really like Adrian Edmonds. Oh my god. So he was in, but we don't know how old he was when he was introduced.
He's been the face of the Pepperami brand since the early 1990s, which makes him at worst. If it was 1990 bang on, he's 31.
But that's if he was 0 years old when he started.
True.
I mean, I'd assume he was 50, 60 when he's. No, I'm joking. Um,
That's the age.
I
That's the
could.
age of the meat when you're eating it.
Yeah. True. Um, according to um, Wikipedia, which is obviously a very, very reliable source, he's been. This is only on the featured snippet on Google. He was introduced in 1979, but I don't know where it doesn't
I
seem
think
to say
that's
that on the page.
pepperami in general.
Oh yeah, yeah. Google's so bad for that, you know.
Hey, again, kids, if you're doing your homework, just make sure you check it.
This is great advice, isn't it?
Look, we're all about helping out. I think I'm probably. I'm probably delaying the inevitable, really, aren't I?
It's just tough because this is my trump card. So after this, it goes downhill. So let me enjoy it. But
I think fine. Yeah, Gary Lineker does probably beat Animal, whichever way you want to split it. Also vegetarian, so don't care. Pepperami's a loser. Kids, don't eat pepperami.
This is the best I've ever done at this
2
game. Don't
0
forget
2-0 after 2. This could be a clean sweep. I'm going for what I think is quite a strong pick next up, obviously. I can't really take any chances, otherwise I'll have lost and I'll just be, I don't know, like West Brom, just kicking a ball about, waiting for the season to be over. Or Sheffield United, and that's, but West Brom was sort of doing that at the start of the year.
Yeah, true. And when they got Sam Allardyce, you thought, okay.
Yeah, let's just lump the ball forward, sort of expand as little energy as possible. So, I'll try and put up a fight. So I think probably one of my best picks this week in terms of footballing ability is going to be on the wing, and that is Chester Cheeto.
That's a very good one. And one thing we do know about him is that he's going to be very quick.
Very quick. I think he's probably got a bit of the Sterlings about him, where he's not afraid to go whoops a daisy and cheap foul.
He definitely pulls his sunglasses down and looks at the ref.
Yeah, and he's got sort of raw charisma as well, which I think is important in just kind of like the fans will be on side. There'll be a little bit of I think it's a good one out wide. I think he's got the build as well of a winger. So it all fits. So I've gone for Chester Cheeto from Cheetos in case, you hadn't twigged. So I guess who's he coming up against at centre back?
Well, if anything, I'm very, very happy with this pick because I think, like, as you know, when I'm picking a centre back, I tend to go for like a very, very strong physical presence. Sometimes I'll go for kind of intelligence as well, but it tends to just be who's the biggest, tallest, roughest person I can pick. And so I think it was only natural that I went for Jolly Green Giant.
Oh, I was so close to putting him in my team.
I mean, he's an actual giant. He towers over all of the players like Van Dijk on Heat. So I did have a few thoughts on who I could have. I'll only say I'm kind of giving away another player I've already got, but I feel like I doubt you've got him in any other of your team. But one of the alternate options I had, which was my original choice, was the Quaker Oats Quaker, because I thought surely he's massive. He just looked, and I mean, there's only really one picture of him, and he looks like you're not getting past him because he looks like a kind of 1960s like no nonsense centre back. But I did look it up, and he had little to no backstory, so I thought there's not really much to go by. But Jolly Green Giant is a massive giant. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't really know how we decide this, but it's speed versus strength, isn't it?
Speed versus strength, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean,
does the cool factor come into it? If we think about like playing football at school, I would consider. I don't think it's unfair to say this. The Jolly Green Giant is probably a bit of a nerd.
Yeah, and I mean he does. Although he only has a deep voice, all he says is "ho ho ho."
Not good communication.
No, I mean, it's probably as much as to get from like Phil Jones.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
if
it's like, what do you want me to do? Phil? Do you want me to check? Do you want me to mark him, or do you want me to leave him for you? I don't know what you want.
ho ho ho
And you're like, is that good? Is that bad? Are you referencing Christmas? I don't understand.
ho ho ho, and you just like, oh, okay, Phil, stop now.
And also,
Um,
actually, one thing that I did just think of, which I know this is shooting myself in the foot a bit, because I do, and I genuinely do think that Jolly Green Giant was a good pick, and I wouldn't go back on it even now. But one thing I'm thinking is how tall is Jolly Green Giant? Because like, is he going to be too tall to be effective?
it sort of feels like he's probably gone. He's probably gone beyond like Dan Burn.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Oh,
he's probably moved from sort of like a physical menace to just lumbering. Like Chester's going to go straight through him. He'll
yeah.
go through his legs. The ball. I mean, how's he going to kick the ball? Apparently, he's well, a statue of him that's been built is 55.5 feet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I did just I found that sorry, I can't speak. I found that out myself, and it's yeah, it doesn't bode well. I mean, there is a to be honest, there is a special place in my heart for Cheetos because I've always been a fan, and I remember having I'm sure I used to have some kind of like toy to do with Cheetos when I was little, and I remember thinking like that Cheetah is who I want to be. As you can see, maybe like 20 years later, I didn't become that cheater in any possible way.
But you
But
did have that weird 2 years where you tried, mate.
oh yeah,
You were wearing those sunglasses. You always came in covered in cheese dust.
yeah. We've all gone through that phase.
Yeah, yeah, of
Um,
course. Some of us earlier than others, but late bloomer.
I mean, to make it fair, I am looking up how tall here Chester Cheetah is, but I just even if I can't find anything. Oh, apparently he's 18 inches tall.
Well,
But even so, I feel like surely, I know I'm kind of talking myself out of a win here, but I do like to try and be fair. And I feel like an 18-inch tall cheetah could push a ball, but a Jolly Green Giant, um, however tall you said he was, ridiculously tall, wouldn't really be much use. Um,
well, hey, look, I'm 2-0 down, so I will happily
I,
take a
I
foot
think
shot and
I think it has to be 2-1.
great, get in.
Oh God, sorry. One of the suggested questions on Google is Chester Cheetah dead?
What? Is he?
This could change everything. Um, Chester Cheetah has been found dead in his Manhattan home. Police believe that Chester was overdosed on Cheetos. Stay cheesy, my friends. I don't know if that's a reliable source, so maybe we should.
It's
I'm not gonna go back on what I've
it's
said.
ifunny.co, so I think
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to make people worry about stuff like that because
yeah, yeah.
we know we all think a lot of him, so maybe don't say stuff like that unless you get your facts right.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Redact
yeah,
that,
okay,
redact it.
yeah, okay, 2-1 to you still. It was a VAR check, but it's not. It's not
I've got the awkward dilemma of whether I go for my centre back and kind of force you to bring on a new wide midfielder, or whether I go for my striker and play like your first choice goalkeeper
true.
and potentially lose the match before the last round. But I think I've got quite an iconic striker. I think this was the first mascot I thought of.
Yeah.
So I have gone for a good option. Some would say a great option. I've gone for Tony Tiger.
That's a good pick. And to be fair, you could imagine him being quite good at football.
Yep.
And surely, I mean, just being realistic, surely the link up play with Chester Cheetah would be pretty good.
You're doing my job for me here, mate. I've got Big Cat Alliance. That's a green link if this was Ultimate Team.
Yeah, I need to stop talking because I'm making it so bad, but I'm just in awe of that. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of pushed the rules a little bit here. But because the thing is, I've seen food mascot as being any food, and in the fast food world, there's not really that many mascots, especially in this country. Because I know obviously in America there's Wendy's and there's Jack in the Box, and if you've seen the mascot to Jack in the Box, you'll know it's terrifying because it's just a massive like clown head with a smiley face drawn on it.
Ooh.
But over here we do have one clown that is obviously very popular. So I've gone for Ronald McDonald in goal.
Okay. What's making him a good keeper?
Well, I mean, and I feel like it's become a trend now to say that someone's a good goalkeeper if they're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
But he is. But he's also tall, and I feel like he I mean, whenever he's posing, he's putting his arms out and stuff. And I think he'd be a good goalkeeper. He'd be mental, but you know, he is just that's just how he is. And I also think he surely has the ability to put people off scoring, primarily because he's a clown.
Yeah, I can.
That's fair to say.
I can buy that. Yeah.
But it is an interesting matchup because obviously he's quite a confident clown versus a very confident, cocky Tony the Tiger.
I mean, Tony, I just think everything he does, just he's got such panache about him. I think he's also got that kind of his body just looks like he'd be good to hold the ball up. Probably got quick feet. I have got a football related tie-in as well, in that there is a striker nicknamed El Tigre who has been quite proficient in his career. Radamel Falcao.
That's true.
So you know, I think he's sort of embodying the spirit of Falcao as well. Why not?
I don't know if there's apparently. I'm trying to find if there's somebody who's nicknamed the Clown. Apparently, there's a clown prince of soccer called Len Shackleton. But I don't know how good he was. Oh, apparently he scored 127 goals.
How many clean sheets did he keep?
It doesn't say that because I don't think he ever went in goal. But if he had, who knows the damage he'd have done.
I've googled goalkeepers nicknamed the Clown, and I've got the Polish goalkeeper, which is quite on topic given England and Poland.
Yeah,
it's the Polish goalkeeper Jan Tomaszewski, who was the man who made a series of saves at Wembley to hold England to a 1-1 draw. He was labelled as a clown by Brian Clough.
but not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Apparently, Pablo Aimar was sometimes called the Clown. I didn't know that. El Paisa.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Because he had a tear-like birthmark on his left cheek.
Huh. That feels a bit.
It's kind of a bit. I mean, these days, you don't really do that, do you?
I hope it was his friends who were.
Yeah, it seems like, let's call him the Clown. He's like, well, actually, I've just been born with this birthmark, and I feel very self-conscious about it. Like, oh yeah, we'll call you the Clown. He's like, no, well, okay, I don't really want you to.
Yeah. I sort of feel like, as long as he was all right with it, I'm all right with it. But Pablo, let us know. Get in touch, and we'll we'll shoot some people down.
I've also found this really spices things up. In Cheshire Live, Bruce Grobbelaar speaks about when Everton fans used to call him the Clown. They invented the name Clown for me, and it stuck.
Ooh, okay.
And we know how good he was in goal.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I have already looked up Ronald McDonald versus Tony the Tiger, and nowhere seems to have done that, which I'm kind of surprised about.
That does feel like people have missed out, really.
You'd think there'd be a Reddit page for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm kind of, just because of Ronald McDonald's prestige. I'm kind of torn between whether to back down or not. I just wish we could find another way of working.
Do we bring in the managers at this point?
We could do, yeah.
Shall we have a go with the managers? So my manager is another fast food icon. And I think really, in all honesty, it's the other fast food icon in this country. I have gone for the Colonel. See.
That's very bad news for me. Because I've also gone for the Colonel.
Well.
So, well, I mean, to be fair, he is the proper leader. But for that
original
reason,
recipe, original tactics, that's where I was going from.
Yeah.
I thought he's an innovator, like a Bielsa.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of tempted to swap him out, but I'd rather swap out my winger. Obviously in the final round, and so due to that, I have to take the defeat on that. So that's 2-2.
A managerial assist. KFC beats McDonald's. You heard it here first, kids.
I do think that as well.
Who are these kids? Boils down to this. Is your winger. And you have to bring on a sub. So really, I've got sort of 2 bites at this.
Yeah, true.
2 bites, food week.
Yeah, no, that too.
It's all right, isn't it?
Two on edge to even notice, because you could very well Istanbul me right now.
Oh, and what a joy it would be. Have we had a 3-2 from 2-0 down yet?
No, because I've not. If you've been in the lead, I've lost. I don't think I've been in the lead until I won. Yeah, so it's not been anything like this. This is a very different week.
Okay, well, this is a weird pick, but stick with me. Mustachioed footballers.
I know where you're going.
Think Neville Southall.
Yeah.
Think John Walk. Ipswich, obviously, and Liverpool, so that's a very good one for both of us.
Yeah.
Think Graham Souness.
Yeah.
Some of the greats of the game. Think most players during Movember.
Alisson at the moment. He's got
Alisson at the moment.
Yeah.
See? More...
I really need to stop helping.
Grobbelaar. Bruce
Yeah.
Grobbelaar.
Yeah.
As well. You know, another mention for him. Probably Fred at some point in his career.
Fred must have had one once. We've all done it halfway through shaving. Come on.
Maybe I would imagine Dean Windass as well, just because I know we're aiming for a whole thing in here somewhere. I would imagine Dean Windass at some point has just had a moustache.
Can't imagine it, but you wouldn't.
Yeah, I think he would have. He would have, or his son would have on his behalf. I think so. Anyway, a storied history of mustachioed footballers. Who has the best moustache in all of food mascotry? The Pringles man.
Of course.
Would you like to know his first name?
Is it Mustachio?
It's Julius.
Oh.
Sometimes known as Mr. P, but
right.
Julius Pringles. That's who I've got at centre back.
That's a good pick, and it's yet another kind of landmark in food mascots. But I mean, I had a lot of choices of people I could have brought on, and I didn't. I mean, there was a few that I thought I was tempted to use them, but I just couldn't, because just this one stood out too much. And I mean, I'd tell you the other ones, but if you use your sub, I might be giving you ideas. So to be playing the safe side, I'll just tell you who I've picked. I've gone for just a staple in people you see when you go to make food. I've gone for Uncle Ben.
Okay.
And that, I mean, to me, Uncle Ben, there's a lot of soul to him. And I could in my head, I could just imagine him being like a samba type player. Like, he's getting on, but so do many players, and they're still playing through older years. Totti played as long as he possibly could. Some people went to Italy to extend their careers, and he'd be one of those. He's got there's a there's a Pele vibe to him. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's definitely got odes of Pele. I think that's a good pick.
It's a tough one because they're both legends of like shelf food.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Would would question the abilities of a 78-year-old
But
on the
I just
wing.
think he could do it. I think he's one of them where
Well,
it's like he could just make it work any age. He'd come on and he'd make the difference. And I think in a game where Gandhi can beat Lara Croft, anything's possible.
that is a fair point.
I think he'd have the natural ability and he'd have the fancy footwork. I can just imagine it.
Do you know what I want to do?
What?
It's not a tactical sub. I don't actually think this. I've not thought this through, but I just think we can't miss out on an opportunity like this. So I'm going to take Julius Pringles off, and I'm bringing on Aunt Bessie.
Oh,
I don't think we can not take the opportunity to have Aunt Bessie versus Uncle Ben. I just don't see how we can sit here and talk about food mascots and not bring Aunt Bessie into the mix.
that's a tough one.
Other ones on my bench included Taz from the now defunct Taz Bar. I had the Hamburglar kicking around.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And I was thinking of going a bit weird and getting the Stay Puffed man from
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
yeah. But you might have had the same problem as Jolly Green Giant.
I think so. Whereas Aunt Bessie is a no-nonsense northern powerhouse.
No, true. I'd agree with you. I mean, if anything, that was one of my first names on the team sheet, and then I just changed everything around. She's on my bench alongside Mr. Peanut,
Nice.
the Burger King. I did have Tony the Tiger. I did have Kool-Aid Guy. I had Snap, Crackle, and Pop, but I thought it's harsh to bring on 3 players, and I feel like all 3 would be useless. I had Freddo the Frog. I nearly played the Quaker Oats Quaker, but we've been through that. And also I was considering the M&M people, but I feel like they wouldn't be much use either. But yeah, I think that's a very tough one, and it's the aunt versus uncle.
Yeah, and I've googled Uncle Ben versus Aunt Bessie, and the first thing that comes up is from 2010, where it says Uncle Ben and Aunt Bessie announced split. so it's also it's a battle of former spouses.
I've also found like a forum where someone said, "Is Uncle Ben married to Aunt Bessie?" So maybe they did split. I don't know.
This is mad. This is absolutely mad.
Apparently, there were rumours that Aunt Bessie was going to Mr. Kipling for afters, and but apparently Uncle Ben was cozying up to Betty Crocker.
Oh no! Oh,
if you never want to eat any of these things again, don't read any of this.
That's somebody's put in too much effort there.
Yes. It's very tough. I mean, because I think so much of Aunt Bessie being a pick, and I feel like Aunt Bessie should be in the winning team. But I just think Uncle Ben should be as well.
They're icons, aren't they? They're icons.
They both should be there. It's tough. Yorkshire puddings versus rice.
Yeah. Does it change anything if Uncle Ben's name is going to be replaced with Ben's Original? There you go. I've caught you on the back foot there, haven't I? Whoa.
Is that what's going to happen?
Apparently so. As advertised on September 23rd, 2020, Mars Inc. will replace the Uncle Ben's name with Ben's Original.
Oh, so it's like he's not your uncle anymore. He's just some guy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a way where that means I win. I'm determined it does.
It's intense. I've suckered you in with Aunt Betty, haven't I?
It's very tough because just like with Pepperami, it's a pick that I believe in.
Should we look at something like brand value? Should do something weird like that.
Yeah,
Price
yeah.
on the shelf. I don't know. Like, what are you
Yeah, well, I'll
thinking?
see. Maybe the value. I'm going to look at the value of Aunt Bessie as a brand, and then the value of like what's Aunt Bessie's stock worth.
Okay. I'm googling brand value Aunt Bessie brand and brand value Uncle Ben brand. The Aunt Bessie one came up with something straight away. Uncle Ben is making life difficult.
I'm on Bloomberg now, so it's getting quite serious.
Oh wow, we really are going down the.
Damn it! I can't really find anything useful.
I've got a 210 million Aunt Bessie takeover in 2018 by Nomad Foods.
But if Uncle Ben's been bought by Mars, that's not going to bode well either.
I mean, you'd have thought they'd be. Come on, how much are you worth? How much are you worth, big boy Benny?
Apparently, in June 2018, Aunt Bessie was worth £210 million.
Yeah.
What is Uncle Ben worth? This is rough. Oh, it's not come up. Surely someone knows what it's bought for if Mars bought him.
Must be. Well. I've got a March 2018 sales of 171.1 million. I found that on thegrocer.co.uk. This is exhilarating stuff. I'm having a very good time frantically Googling how Bessie beats Ben. I mean, I would say as well, like Bessie is queen of the Yorkshire pudding stakes. There isn't anyone to touch her. Whereas like packet rice, you got your Tilda to look at. Always one eye on the Tilda.
I still think nothing. I mean, I tend to get Shop's Own because it's vastly cheaper. But Uncle Ben's, he's just. When I think of rice, I think of him.
Poor Declan will be gutted. This does feel tough.
I'm just trying to find what because if apparently Mars announced it would it'd be evolving identity, so it's not bought, it's already had it.
Oh, hang on, I found a. Would we agree on? I haven't opened the link yet. I'm on Wikipedia. Right. I'm on Aunt Bessie's. There is apparently a list of Britain's biggest brands that the grocer put together.
Oh God!
From 2016 and 2017 that I could look at and see if Uncle Ben was higher than Aunt Bessie or vice versa. Would we agree that would be fair?
We're gonna have to.
Okay, which one do you want? 2016 or 2017?
I don't know what's best. I feel like Aunt Bessie wins because it's such a British thing. Let's go 2017. We'll go for the most recent.
Okay, that's exciting, isn't it?
It's terrifying.
That's opened up. Okay, well, to give you a flavour of the list, Coca-Cola was number 1, Warburton's was number 2, and Walker's was number 3. Bird's Eye, if you'd had that would be number 4.
Damn it.
Bear with, this doesn't look like it's done what I wanted it to do. Oh, I was trying to search the page, but I've actually got to click through more pages to go and find out. So hang in there. I'll give you assorted ones, though, for colour. Tropicana, 16. Red Bull came in at 20.
Oh no, actually, no, sorry. I thought I'd found top 5 best food icons, but they're in any order.
It's pretty...
They were both in it, but they're in any order, so...
Do you know, I think this might be hidden behind a paywall, would you believe? It's behind a paywall.
Actually, I found the grossest, biggest brands of 2020.
Oh, excellent. Here we go then. Fine.
Okay, so I'm just going to search the site because there's 100. Aunt Bessie is at 63,
Okay.
with sales of 134.2 million.
Woof.
So she's at 63. Oh, I'm going to have to put Uncle Ben because all the similar things are coming up. Oh, Uncle Ben is at 49.
Uncle Ben takes it.
160.3 million. God, this was a close one though. This was very tense.
Hey, them's the breaks, aren't they?
I don't feel good about this win.
You should. Well deserved. If
It's very
out of
close.
interest, Pringles. Oh, if I'd stuck with Julius Pringles, I'd have won.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. I'll have a look. Let's see what you could have won. Pringles. Oh my god.
Yep.
Pringles is 33.
Yep. Well, hey, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I wanted a face-off between the most bitter divorce in food mascot history, and I've paid the price for it. But I like to think we've entertained.
I'm definitely entertained, and we know that's the most important thing.
And it levels up the series. That is my first home defeat.
Loads of shots.
So should I do this? Shall I run through the teams just to tidy this all up? So for me, it was Animal, the Pepper Army man in goal. At centre back, as we know, it was me shooting myself in the foot. I had Julius Pringles, and I subbed him out for Aunt Bessie. At centre mid, I had the Red Jelly Baby, brilliant. Out wide, I had Chester, the Cheetos cheetah, obviously. And then up front, I had Tony the Tiger from Frosties. Your team was Ronald McDonald in goal, the Jolly Green Giant at centre-back, Captain Birdseye in midfield, Uncle Ben out wide, with Gary Lineker up top, managed by the Colonel for me, and absolutely no one for you, because you also had the Colonel.
The Colonel swapped sides.
That's a KFC joke?
Oh my god, it is.
There you go. End on a high, mate. Well done. Congrats.
There we have it. Yet another episode of the Fancy Football podcast over. And I finally got things back to level terms. But did you think it was the correct outcome, or did we fluff our lines? Let us know on Twitter at FantFantFootPod, Instagram at FantFantFoot, and on YouTube on the official Fancy Football podcast channel. You can also follow the Fancy Football podcast and listen to last week, this week, and next week's episodes on Spotify and all of the major podcast platforms. In total honesty, me and David are overwhelmed at the fact that we reached 250 listeners at the end of last week, despite only releasing 5 episodes. All we can say is thank you to everyone who listened and continue to listen every week. And to all of you that don't listen, we know where you live. But to all the listeners, we hope to see you all next time for another edition of Fantasy Football.